Most people hear the name Tuvalu and immediately think of a tiny island in the Pacific that has almost nothing to do with global business. And because of that assumption, they completely overlook a much bigger question hiding underneath it all. What does it actually take to form a business entity in one of the smallest jurisdictions in the world? And why do some entrepreneurs even consider it in the first place? Because here's the surprising truth. The appeal of places like Tuvalu is not about size, popularity, or mainstream recognition. It is about structure, jurisdictional simplicity, and how certain legal systems define and register companies in a way that is very different from what most people are used to. But here's where things get interesting. Most people approach this topic with the wrong mindset. They assume it's about finding a shortcut, or discovering some hidden trick that unlocks international business advantages instantly. And that assumption leads to confusion, frustration, and often misinformation. So in this guide, we are going to slow everything down and walk through it properly. No assumptions. No prior knowledge required. Just a clear step-by-step explanation of what a Tuvalu LLC actually represents, how the registration process generally works, what challenges exist, and what you need to understand before even considering it. And by the end, you will not only understand the process, but also the logic behind why such structures exist in the first place. Now let's start with a story. Michael is a 36-year-old digital consultant based in the United States. He works remotely with clients across different countries, managing marketing campaigns and automation systems. His income has grown steadily over the years, but with that growth came a new layer of complexity: business structuring, international payments, and tax classification confusion. At first, Michael thought everything would stay simple. He was just a freelancer. But as his client base expanded, he started receiving payments in multiple currencies, working with platforms that required business verification, and dealing with systems that no longer treated him like a simple individual. Then there is Sarah, an online entrepreneur running a small digital product business. She sells templates and educational content globally. Her business is fully online, but as she scales, she runs into issues with payment processors, cross-border transactions, and documentation requirements she never expected when she started. Both Michael and Sarah eventually come across the idea of forming an LLC in jurisdictions outside their home country. And in that search, names like Tuvalu appear. At first, it feels strange. Tuvalu is not a global financial hub. It is not widely discussed in mainstream entrepreneurship circles. And that's exactly why most people pause right there. But here's the key insight most beginners miss. The importance of a jurisdiction is not always about its global fame. It is about its legal framework, administrative structure, and how it defines corporate entities. However, and this is critical, that does not mean every jurisdiction is suitable for every business. In fact, choosing the wrong structure without understanding compliance, banking, and operational requirements can create more problems than it solves. So before we talk about steps, we need to understand what we are actually dealing with. A Tuvalu LLC, in general terms, refers to a limited liability company structure formed under the legal and administrative system of Tuvalu. Like other LLC-type entities, it is designed to separate the legal identity of the business from its owners. This separation is what gives the company its core legal function: the ability to operate, hold assets, and enter agreements independently. But here's something most people don't realize. In smaller jurisdictions, company formation frameworks are often structured to accommodate international administrative needs, but they are not always designed for high-volume global commercial ecosystems. That distinction matters a lot more than people think, because it affects banking access, compliance expectations, and operational usability. Now let's slow down and walk into the actual process, step by step, in a realistic way. The first stage of forming any company, including in Tuvalu, is defining your business intent. This is where many people make their first mistake. They skip clarity and jump directly into formation, thinking the structure itself will solve their business challenges. But structure never replaces strategy. So the first question you must answer is simple: what is the purpose of this entity? Is it for consulting services, digital business operations, holding assets, or something else entirely? For Michael, this question becomes a turning point. He initially thought he needed a foreign LLC to fix his tax situation. But after analyzing his workflow, he realized his actual problem was payment segmentation and client classification, not jurisdiction itself. That realization completely changed his approach. And this is where things start to shift. Because once your purpose is clear, everything else becomes more structured. The next stage is name, selection, and availability, verification. This might sound simple, but it is more important than most beginners realize. A company name is not just branding. It is a legal identifier. It must comply with jurisdictional rules, avoid restricted terms, and be unique within the registry system. And here's where delays often happen. People choose names that are too generic, too similar to existing entities, or not aligned with local naming conventions. That leads to rejection and slows down the entire process. So careful selection matters. Now we move into documentation. This is where most of the real administrative work happens. Typically, you will need identification documents for all shareholders or directors, proof of address, and basic information about the nature of the business. Depending on the service structure used in Tuvalu, additional compliance documentation may be required. But here's the important insight. Documentation is not just a formality. It is part of global compliance standards that ensure transparency in cross-border business activity. That means accuracy is critical. Even small inconsistencies between documents can cause delays. Zara learned this the hard way when she attempted her first international registration process. A mismatch between her business description and payment records led to additional verification steps that slowed her entire setup by weeks. And that's something most people don't expect. Now let's talk about the role of intermediaries. In many small jurisdictions, company registration is not handled directly by individuals in a completely self-service manner. Instead, registered agents or authorized service providers often play a central role in processing applications, ensuring compliance, and communicating with regulatory bodies. This is not a barrier. It is a structural feature of how international company formation systems operate in smaller legal environments. But it does mean you need to choose your service provider carefully, because they become the link between your application and the official registry. And here's where a key mistake often happens. People choose the fastest or cheapest option without understanding long-term implications. But in reality, reliability matters more than speed, because errors in this stage can affect your entire business structure later. Now, let's move forward. Once documentation is submitted and processed, the next stage is approval and issuance of incorporation details. This includes your company registration confirmation and official records that establish your entity legally. At this point, many people think the process is finished. But in reality, this is only the beginning of operational setup. Because a registered company without operational infrastructure is just a legal shell. It cannot function effectively until banking, payment processing, and compliance systems are in place. And this is where things often become more complex than expected. Banking access is one of the most important and sensitive parts of international company formation. Financial institutions require clear documentation, consistent business descriptions, and verified identity structures. Any mismatch can lead to delays or rejection. This is why preparation during the registration stage matters so much. If your documentation is aligned from the beginning, banking becomes significantly smoother. But if not, you may find yourself revisiting earlier steps under pressure. And that is where frustration usually begins for unprepared applicants. Now let's pause for a moment and return to Michael. After going through the full process carefully, Michael realized something important. The real challenge was not forming the company. It was aligning his expectations with the reality of international business structures. He understood that jurisdiction alone does not solve business problems. Strategy, compliance, and operational design matter just as much, if not more. And that realization changed how he approached his entire business. Now let's talk about long-term responsibilities. Once a company is registered in a jurisdiction like Tuvalu, there are ongoing expectations that must be maintained. These may include record keeping, updates to company information, and compliance with any applicable reporting requirements. This is often overlooked by beginners who focus only on formation. But maintenance is what ensures your structure remains valid and functional over time. Ignoring it can lead to administrative complications later. So what is the real takeaway here? Forming a company in Tuvalu is not about discovering a shortcut or bypassing complexity. It is about understanding how international corporate systems work at a structural level, and making informed decisions based on that understanding. It requires clarity of purpose, careful documentation, reliable intermediaries, and a long-term operational mindset. And once you approach it that way, the entire process becomes less confusing and far more strategic. Michael eventually completed his setup. Sarah refined her approach. And both of them walked away with a deeper understanding of how international business structures actually function in the real world. Not as shortcuts, not as hacks, but as systems that require clarity, patience, and intention. So if you are considering a Tuvalu LLC, the most important step is not rushing into registration. It is understanding your goals, preparing your documentation properly, and making sure the structure actually supports your business model. Because when you do that, you are no longer guessing. You are building with purpose. And if you found this guide helpful and want more deep, practical breakdowns of international business structures explained in a clear and simple way, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more guides like this.